It will not make me more sincere in welcoming you all to the 10th anniversary of the EIT. And of course, I would like to extend a special welcome to Commissioner Navracic, the Commissioner for Education, Youth, Sport and Culture, to be here with us and to celebrate with us the 10 years existence of the EIT. And of course, it's also a great pleasure for us to welcome State Secretary Georgi, of course, of Hungarian government, which is the host nation to the EIT, and we are very grateful for that. Thank you very much. And we have with us Lambert van Nistelrooy, member of the European Parliament, a staunch supporter of the EIT, so he's really most welcome here as well. And then, of course, we have Director General Christofido also with us, who will chair one of the panels later on in the program. And I hope it will be really an energizing program for you all, because what we try to do is basically present to you two chapters. The first chapter being discussing the achievements of the EIT so far, and of course the future of the EIT. We will do that with a set of distinguished panelists, and of course we will have a very important keynote speaker, Michael Karn, who will discuss the future options of the EIT. And then the second part of the program will be very much focused on the innovators. You will be able to meet in the innovation tour all the nominees for the EIT Innovation Awards. And then, of course, at the end of our session today, we will have the awarding of the EIT Innovation Awards. That will be an exciting moment. Actually, when you look at the history of the EIT, at the beginning, there was just an important mission to get the innovation system in Europe to work better. There was an interesting concept, and that is to bring education, research, and businesses together. But that was about it. Oh, with one exception. We had, of course, a roof over our head. Once again, thanks to the Hungarian government, who welcomed the EIT here in Budapest. And basically, if you look at the history line of the EIT, it's almost like a startup scale-up itself. Brilliant ideas, good concepts, but how do you make it work? And in fact, a lot of effort has been put into that, and I believe with great success. I think the fundamental approach was a very good one, and the essence is this. In the first place, it was recognized if we want innovation to work, it really has to be a bottom-up process. This is not something you can dictate from a central policy office, whatever. This is something that needs to be realized by people. So the approach taken was to actually invite, through calls, on universities, businesses, other participants to come up with proposals to work on topics. And that was the second thing that was a very good choice, to relate those topics to the societal challenges. So the proposal was a very inspirational one. Work together on getting societal challenges solved. And I think that was really a very good approach. And the second very important choice that has been made is to allow these communities to operate in an autonomous manner. So please do as you see fit to get your proposal to work. And I think this idea of making it a bottom-up process and giving the knowledge and innovation communities autonomy was really a very strong one, and that resulted in success. Because already 2 years after the creation of the EIT, the first kicks arrived on the scene. Energy, environment, and digital. And basically what we see happen now is that, of course, 3 more kicks came after that, but you can already see the first results happening. And I think it is fair to note that if you compare the EIT to a startup scale-up, we all know by experience this has really very long lead times. But already for some years, I think the EIT can be proud to say that you see results coming in. You see the number of partners growing, you see the number of students participating in our programs increasing. You see the number of projects actually multiplying. And basically, this is not just a current state of affairs, it is a dynamics that really predicts exponential developments in these areas. So the EIT already now shows for its successes, and that is very important. But in the process, a lot of experience was gained on how actually innovation works. It became clear that actually the KICS function, the EIT functions, as a sort of one-stop shop for innovation. If you try to work on a new idea, on a product, on a service, it is not just pouring in money and you get the thing going. You need, in fact, a multidisciplinary, multidimensional team to really get over all the hurdles before your product or your service will enter into the marketplace. And that is something the KICS and the EIT provided for, and this is a very important experience point. What I think is also very important, that what we have learned, that innovation is not a static process. It's very dynamic. And by the way the KICS are set up, you really create a pipeline of constant flow of new ideas. And of course, not all these ideas will make it to the market, obviously not. But on the other hand, it is very important that there is this continuing dynamics to make innovation work. And that is something that has been achieved as well. So there is an interesting set of experience to be derived from the history of the EIT so far. But I think what is probably the most important thing to note about the developments of the EIT so far is that it is actually about connecting the dots. It's about bringing different dimensions together. The first one being the knowledge triangle. The fact that you bring education, research, and businesses together in one framework is extremely promoting innovation. It's a very good concept, very important. It is creating the innovation environment young innovators actually need. It's a very good thing. Secondly, I think it's also very important to note how the EIT connects this knowledge triangle to important societal challenges, to the European missions, to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. This is also a very strong point in how the EIT develops. Thirdly, what I would like to point at, it is also connecting regions in Europe. It is a pan-European cooperation, also reaching out to regions of a moderate or modest innovation capacity, but it brings them on board. And I think this is another feature of the EIT that really helps to create this notion of a European innovation system. Very important. It also connects, I would say, innovation experience with the work of policymakers. We are amassing a whole range of experiences regarding innovation, and we actually will be capable to advise policymakers on how proposed regulations can affect innovation in Europe in a positive sense as well as in a negative sense. And I think that is very important to know too, and I hope good use will be made of that experience. Another example is that it also connects Europe to the world. How does that work? If there is an outside interest from parties in Asia or the United States or wherever you want, looking to Europe, trying to find partners to work on important themes like health, like food, like energy, the KICS appear to be the ideal bridgehead to enter into Europe and to get to know a set of interesting partners all at once in one go with a first visit to Europe. And that is extremely efficient. And that is what we're experiencing today, that in fact we get a lot of approaches from outside Europe to join the European innovation system created by the EIT. And one last example on where things can be connected. If we look at the proposal for Horizon Europe, we see the three-pillar structure. And I think the IT is ideally placed to really explore the synergies that can be created between the pillars and also within the innovation pillar. And I think there again, we really can contribute to a very, I would say, fruitful discussion on how to better profile the innovation system in Europe. So basically, when you look at all these achievements, I would say that the EIT has an important way, an important future ahead of it. And I think it was Vice President Kaitanen who said, well, if you want to know something about the future of Europe, you have to look at the EIT. Well, I think that is the kind of acknowledgement we can be very proud of, that apparently the reflection is that if you want to look at the future of Europe, you have to look at the EIT. I think when we look at the coming 10 years, it is very important that we continue this experience, that we continue the EIT, that we allow it to let it grow, and for that, in the current time frame in Brussels, where a new program is being designed, we need, as a governing board, to have a good, close cooperation with the Commission to bring that about. And there are 4 areas that are there, in particular, very important. In the first place, I think we need to make sure that the regulatory framework of the EIT will allow for a certain degree of flexibility to make sure that the EIT can organize its work always in accordance what is needed, aligned with the bottom-up approach the EIT adopts. I think that is really something that is very important. Of course, we would like to be allowed to have a budget that can realize all our ambitions. We are completely sensitive to the difficult debates that are in that particular area, but I just mentioned it. And of course, what is also very important is that we really try to take the maximum profit of the possibilities for energy, for synergies in the proposals of the Commission for the current, for the Horizon Europe program. And fourthly, I want to make this really very clear. I would like to thank Commissioner Navracic for the prominent place the EIT has in the Commission proposals. We know that you have worked very hard to bring that about, but we feel that our interests are really very well represented by you, and we can only encourage you to continue your good work for the coming month, because we all know that the coming days and months in Brussels will be, in that respect, very important. But thank you very much for your work done so far. So the EIT has a great future ahead of it, but it is not just the EIT itself. I think it is extremely important to note that this is a collaborative effort. It's the people working in the KICs, it's the innovators, it's working with national governments, it's working with the Commission, it's working with other partners, and that actually will make the thing work. As the African saying goes, if you want to travel fast, you go alone. If you want to travel a long way, you go together. And that is exactly what the EIT plans to do. To go for a very, very long way, because innovation never ends, innovation never stops, but we will make innovation work. Thank you very much.